Sinatra shot you, goddamn you. Is this what you want?
Logic.
Hey guys, it's me, the Dr. Pepper guy, and I know it has been a really long time since I made an actual video, but I feel I was held back by personal stuff, as I explained in my last video, and I just wanted to make as many videos, as much content as I can before I set off for the holidays, and that too, I may be inactive during the month of January. But regardless, I know I'm late to the party, but I just wanted to give my peace of mind, and I just really wanted to talk about it in a YouTube format about the Remind trailer, which came out, the final trailer of Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, which is the latest DLC expansion, which is like the final mix for Kingdom Hearts 3, which is releasing at 23rd of January at 2020 for the PS4, but it releases a month later for the Xbox, which kind of sucks. I feel like it's a shitty practice, but that's just a whole different topic. Today I just wanted to talk about the Remind trailer, not only my thoughts on it for like a 5-10 seconds, but also I just wanted to discuss whatever is on it and just analyze it, speculate, all that. So first up, before I start all that, I want to talk about the pricing and the details of Remind, what it has to offer. To some of you, this might feel like filler, so I suggest you to skip to this point if you want to get to the main point of this video, in my opinion, which is just like speculation, analysis, and breaking down whatever is in the trailer. So I suggest you go there. So now I just want to give my thoughts on the trailer. I thought this trailer was really great, and it definitely satisfied my expectations, and it's nice to see that this is something that'll fix my issues for Kingdom Hearts, whatever issues I have with the vanilla version of Kingdom Hearts 3. Remind is setting to fix it, and that's honestly a nice touch, and I'm thankful. It's looking really nice, and I cannot wait to try out this DLC, because all the other trailers, they surpassed my expectations, and I'm a fan, bro. So now that my thoughts are out of the way, let's talk about the pricing and what it has to offer. So as we know, the Remind DLC will first offer 2 difficulty modes. One is I think it's called Fast Pass. One is the Fast Pass mode, which is like an easy mode, which will let you breeze to Kingdom Hearts 3 with ease. It's a much more easier mode, much easier than beginner mode, where you can stack a lot of ZA spells, and yeah, I heard you could stack up to 7 spells if I'm not wrong. So that's Fast Pass mode, which is like, which allows you to breeze through the game. And then there's Black Code. Well, from what I think, it's a much more harder mode, and from the interviews that Nomura was talking, in the interviews where Nomura was talking about Black Code, it's supposed to be a mode where you can actually customize the difficulty of Kingdom Hearts 3 for yourself. Like if you feel like critical is a bit too hard for you or overwhelming for you, you can actually turn it down a notch, or you can pretty much adjust it to your own settings, which is really nice, and I like it. I guess people really have had a lot of issues with critical. Some people thought it was a bit too tough, and it was unbalanced. I guess this helps them balance it in a way that they like. So that's honestly a really neat mode, and I like it. So on that, and a photo mode. Well, Kingdom Hearts 3 does have a photo mode, but not exactly. It's more of a, it's going in, like, it's running on game on time. It's not actually an actual photo mode like we've seen with games like Spider-Man. But now it's getting added, and and a lot more options too within it. Sorry if I'm stammering a bit. It has been a while. There's the slow slideshow mode. Sorry, no, I was about to say slow chat. What the fuck? There's a slideshow mode, which allows you to say, take certain photos, and like as I think you can where this is going. When I said slideshow, take a couple of shots. Again, they played certain in a certain sequence, and like the photo mode enables you to take a character, put them in the same frame, and you can set their poses, expressions, and all that, and you can create some funny stuff. This information was given in the Osaka trailer, the Osaka Orchestra trailer. Sorry, not the trailer, the Osaka Orchestra in Kingdom Hearts, where they do put in do host orchestras. So there's that. And we're obviously getting the two staple keyblades for a Kingdom Hearts game, for the number of Kingdom Hearts at least, which is the Oathkeeper and the Oblivion keyblade, which is nice, and that is actually supposed to be added as a free update, and people are speculating that it'll get unlocked when you get certain proofs. One proof for I think for one for beating the game and one for beating critical, right? I'm not so sure with the white proof, the proof which is white in color. For black in color, you get that after you beat the critical mode for Kingdom Hearts 3. But either way, you have that, and it's said to have more ability. So maybe more combo modifiers, more movement abilities for Sora. I'm looking forward to see what type of abilities they refer to. And as you can see, the DLC is priced at for $30, and if you're including the concert video, that's $40, which I feel like it's a fair price, I honestly feel like it's a fair price, especially with the content we're adding in, being able to play as different characters, and also with what they're doing with the story, which we'll get to later. It's pretty cool. So now that we got that out of the way, we can finally get into the analysis. Or speculation and breakdown. I don't know, call it whatever we want. What I'm feeling is that this is an obvious deduction with the trailers, but I'm gonna say it. So it seems that it looks like Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind will focus on 3 points. Well, if you're summarizing it, then it's 2 points. What will we mean by those 2 points? I feel like going more into it so you understand what I'm saying. I feel like those 2 points, or 1 point is filling in story, is pretty much story scenarios within the parameters, between or whatever, you get what I mean? Within the parameters of the vanilla Kingdom Hearts 3, whatever happens in the vanilla Kingdom Hearts 3, some story scenarios are sprinkled here and there. And the second one is after the ending of vanilla Kingdom Hearts 3, where which we do see when Riku goes to Radiant Garden, and you actually see the Final Fantasy characters, which is cool, and it makes sense because Nomura did state that they created the model for the Final Fantasy characters like Leon, but they didn't get time to put it in or something. So but yeah, it's nice to see the Final Fantasy characters put in. Honestly, it's not a big concern for me, but a lot of other people were bothered by it, and so either way, it's nice for it to be there. So I guess the second point can easily be figured out with that after Sora fades away, using the power of waking to save Kairi. So later, before I mentioned there were 3 points. What did I mean by the 3 points? The first point is before the Keyblade Graveyard section. Whatever happens before the third act, the first 2 acts, like the Disney Worlds. Why do I feel like that? In the trailer, we do see that Luxord and Lucio, or Zigbar, both talk to each other, which I feel like is after this scene, which I'm playing right now, where it cuts so abruptly. I guess that's when it appears. So I feel like that's one. And also I feel like Remind might fill in what Xemnas meant. What I mean is, you see the scene where Xemnas talks to Luxine, Malisha, and everybody, and he mentions the ancient Keyblade, the ancient Keyblade legacy that slumbers within them, and it never gets brought up again in the story. So it might be that Remind will state that, and Nomura did say that how Shion will come back. So I feel like that's the first point. Second point is obviously, like I said, the Keyblade Graveyard segments, where young Xehanort and Master Bashersky talking to each other, and Sora, as you know, we later see in the trailer where Sora goes back in time using the power of waking to save the Guardians again. I feel like yeah, it makes sense than the first speculation I had, which was that Sora which was that if you watch the scenes where Sora uses the power of waking and gets to each of their heart stations, where Sora sees the perspective of Aqua, and I feel like it's adding in between the part where Sora saves them the first time, like that time in the Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 3 where Sora dives into each heart station to get back to return their hearts to their bodies. It's added to that, but honestly, I feel like it's a bit too weird to add it like that. So it makes more sense for him to do it like, go back in time so far that he has to redo that and also redo some of the events that happen in the Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 3, which does make sense. I feel like it's not only him saving them, but also altering some things that happen in certain events, like which I will get to what I mean when I meant by like altering what happens in some scenarios in the main story, and obviously saving Kairi, who gets killed by Xehanort in order to create the Keyblade. So we have that. So I guess Sora goes to Cherthi, like we see in the second trailer where he talks to Cherthi, and Cherthi says that this time the situation is far more worse, which is referring to Kairi's situation. And it isn't like last time where Sora had to dive into the heart station of each of the Guardians to save them, but instead he has to go even farther back, sacrificing himself and abusing the power of waking in the wrong way. And the third one is post-story, probably, which shows the aftermath of Sora's actions, which paves way for probably the next Kingdom Hearts game and the storyline from what we're seeing. Well, and like I said, the Radiant Garden sequence where Riku talks to the Final Fantasy characters to find out where Sora is. And I feel like the scene where he talks with Aqua, BioRock has made this speculation saying that we might play as Riku for a few segments, like explore worlds as him, like Radiant Garden. And if it's like that, then probably we'll see Mysterious Tower being an explorable world you can go to, because in the early trailers for Kingdom Hearts 3, we did see that Mysterious Tower, like in an early build of Kingdom Hearts 3, you did like, you get what I'm saying. You can see the footage. From what I mean is that Sora is fighting all these Heartless in the Mysterious Tower, but in the main game we don't see that. So I guess like whatever, like all the requirements needed to make the Mysterious Tower like to make it playable, that's added. So I guess that makes sense, and also it makes more sense because Riku does use the gummy ship. From what you see the scene in the ending, like we do see Riku using the gummy ship to get to Radiant Garden, and yeah, like I said, yeah, it makes sense have a playable segment as him exploring the worlds through his perspective. Honestly, that would be cool since I love Riku, and also because that would be pretty cool. And also as we see him meeting Yozora, which is a great scene, by the way. So we have that. So that's what I meant by after Kingdom Hearts 3. That's what I meant by the 3 points. And so now let's get to the speculation part. So alright, so Riku, he goes to Radiant Garden, he talks to the Final Fantasy character, like I said, he's finding out a way, finding out a way as in, okay, I guess he's looking for Sora, which is no shit, yeah, he goes there, and later to the Land of Departure. Does that mean the Land of Departure will be an explorable world you can drop into? I don't know, it's a possibility, but just, yeah, because like you do explore the Land of Departure in Kingdom Hearts 3, where you go to see where Ventus is, right? So I guess maybe those worlds will get unlocked in an entirely new galaxy, probably, or in the galaxy where where the Keyblik graveyard is, except they are added. Also with Scala, as we see, yeah, Scala and Kylum is explorable, which is great. It was actually a shame that Scala was, it felt like it was shafted when you had the chance to like go through it for like 5 seconds, and then you're throwing it into a boss fight with the Xehanorts. Which is saying because Scala is such a cool looking world and it has so much to it. But now we're able to explore it, and I feel like Scala is this is a strong feeling, and I think it's highly possible. I guess Scala, since it's explorable now, it's like the Cairn of Remembrance for Kingdom Hearts 2, like like what Cairn of Remembrance was for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Scarlet Kylum is the same, where you explore the world, and then you get you unlock the data battles, and you can fight them, because that's what you do in the Cairn of Remembrance, right? You do explore the world, you do some not a world exactly, but you like the areas, you explore the areas, you do some like puzzles and some shit, and then later you go unlock the data battles, which, as you know, wasn't present in the vanilla version of Kingdom Hearts 3. And it makes sense because it wasn't included in the vanilla version of Kingdom Hearts 2 as well. But, like, a lot of the post-game stuff was added in the final mix version of Kingdom Hearts 2. But, yeah, like I said, I feel like, Scarlet Column is the same thing, where you have to explore, where you can explore the world, and you get to a part where you can fight these boss battles again, the data bosses. So, alright, I wanted to get to the story parts, but I feel like I'll talk about the data battles first, which honestly look really great. And Nomura did say that the number of boss fights he was aiming for there in Kingdom Hearts 3 Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind is the same number as the ones in 2 Final Mix. So I guess like 14, which is cool. Yeah, which is pretty cool. Like, first we see in the second trailer we saw the one with Zigbar and Vanitas, and later in Remind we're seeing it in full force with as you see Terranord, we see Zemnis and Subseeker of Darkness, and also Replica Riku, and I guess I'm guessing, yeah, this is Proud Mode, where we see Sora getting hit, which I feel like is an important showcase, as in showing how much damage each of these bosses do. Since difficulty was a huge complaint about Kingdom Hearts 3, people were complaining about it being too easy even on Proud Mode. So like, I guess these data battles are no slouch. They'll be pretty strong, and they give you quite a beating. And if you look at the footage from how much damage they do, it's like that, and it makes it much more challenging because it's a one-on-one battle. It's not like you have no party members. And if you look at the Zemnis part where he kicks ass, we see that Sora gets stunned, like he's not able to use magic or items. It's blacked out for a good moment. I guess it's like that. And then later we see it with I guess the biggest showcase of the damage Sora gets is this with Replica Riku, where he gets launched in, and he gets thrusted by Replica Riku, which seems to be a unblockable attack, and which, when he does that, when he hits Sora to the ground, that explodes the mines which he sets, and that's a pretty cool thing. So you're supposed to make certain decisions in a split second, and if you do the wrong one, you're going to take a lot of damage, and it'll be punishing. So if in Proud Mode, it looks like you're dealing with a lot of damage. Imagine how much more challenging this will be in Critical or Level 1 Critical. I'm pretty sure in Critical or Lower and Critical, it'll be like a one-shot kill or like a two-shot kill for these bosses. That's for sure. I feel like they'll be really unforgiving in those difficulties, and it's pretty cool. Like we see this, the Anthem boss fight where he does this, that. So yeah, I guess they're the fair share of blockable and unblockable attacks, and you have to strategize and decide, figure out basically the movement and how to do it. I feel like this will be, and with the number of health bars they have, yeah, I feel like there are challenging bosses which will feel satisfying to beat, and the satisfaction will be a lot more with if you do it on a critical, and of course a lower on critical. Perhaps if you add more restrictions to it, which Blackout also has, as it restricts you from even using cure. So you can go insane with the game. This can be a lot more harder for yourself. So yeah, I feel like the data battles will be really cool and they'll be a treat. That's for sure. This is a personal wish of mine. I do want there to be one more boss, or if it's within those 14 bosses. Like, I don't think this will be within those 14 bosses, so that's why I'm saying one more boss. I would like to have the anti-aqua boss fight replayable, because I think that's such an fun and atmospheric boss fight that I really liked, and it's a shame, honestly, that this boss fight gets finished really fast, and I just found that boss battle really enjoyable on critical mode when I like was playing that boss fight to myself. So I would honestly like to see that boss fight with a lot more health bars, because it was over a bit too fast before you were even able to make any type of cool combos or something like that. Yeah, I think that's an enjoyable boss fight, and if it's not replayable, that would honestly be a shame, and I would really like that. So now that we're talked about the data battles, like, I guess, yeah, we'll clear out the gameplay. Now we're getting to playable Kyrie. So a lot of people, including me, were disappointed with how Kyrie was handled in Kingdom Hearts 3, which makes sense because she was given a lot of gas, really. So we see her with her own shot lock, and some people might be like, oh, Riku got disrespected because he had no shot lock too, but he does have his own shot lock in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. In the screenshot, if you check it, you'll find it. You'll find his own focus gauge, and it's a bit weird that it's in Remind, but it wasn't added in the vanilla version of Kingdom Hearts 3. I guess maybe it was they had a change of they decided to add a focus gauge after vanilla Kingdom Hearts 3 was done, like when they were working on Remind, I guess. So there's that. Kyrie looks like a pretty powerful character to play as you get her own shot log, which is pretty darn cool. And yeah, I can't wait to play as her, and I can't wait to explore Scala. It's honestly, I think it'll be a great time, and I do hope that the Lingering Will and Terranod boss fight is playable, and that would be a treat. And or a Yozora secret boss fight, and we see the deadly Inferno, which looks like a stronger version of him. Because if you read the Gummy Phone entries, they did say that there are two versions of the deadly Infernos, and it seems like the second one is a much more stronger one. And he might have a bit more of an origin to him, because in the version of Kingdom Hearts 3, that secret boss didn't have any type of origin or like a story importance to him, like to the next game. Like in the previous Kingdom Hearts games, where the secret boss is like in Kingdom Hearts 1, where you actually fight against a mysterious figure who's said to be Xemnas, which makes sense of the Xemnas checking on Sora, like seeing how he fights and everything. Like, you get what I mean. Like in Kingdom Hearts 1, it's Xemnas. Kingdom Hearts 2, it's Lingering Will. In Mords by Sleep, it's another mysterious figure who is young Xehanort. They had a certain type of plot importance and origin to them, but Deadly Inferno really didn't have anything. It was like a basic Heartless. Even someone in voice chat, Discord voice chat, did mention that too. Didn't mention that too, but yeah, Carl. Yeah. So now that we're talking about that, talk about the gameplay. I guess later is the Keyblade the battles within the Keyblade Graveyard, where you're able to fight as a different character, so you're able to do team attacks with them. And as you can see in this fight, where all the Guardians together are fighting, which is pretty cool. And from what I'm seeing, reaction commands are back, baby, which was there in Kingdom Hearts 2, but it's a shame that they removed that for 3. I thought them being in 2 was a cool addition. It had a more of a cinematic flair to the boss battles. And it actually helped like do Actually, yeah, it not only it doesn't not only looks cool, but it does help you in the actual boss fight, and it was pretty cool to pull off. So, like, to look at or pull off or whatever you want, however you want to phrase it, it's up to you. But yeah, it seems that they're back, and I'm thank God. I'm thankful it's back, and I hope it will be used more in the DLC and in the future Kingdom Hearts games, more. So that, and it seems that it's a segment where we keep on switching on different characters, and you know how these reaction commands work, right? They're optional to you, and this attack we see where Ventus uses wind, Shion does just kind of like whatever that's named as. Shion does that, and later it leads to Roxas dealing a lot of damage with light pillars. I feel like, yeah, this is like a setup attack, and Roxas is like the finisher. How so? Because we do see that when Ventus is using arrow and Shion is doing Shion is doing her attack, there was no damage, but when Roxas did it, there was enormous amounts of damage. So I guess, yeah, it's like a setup. They're doing the setup, and Roxas is doing like the finisher. I guess maybe we'll have more of that. As you can see, there's also reflect, and attack, and it seems like there's a story part in that too, which we'll get to now, because we did take a bit of a sidestep from the story to this, which I wanted to talk about. Like, we do see that Sora goes back in time to not only save the Guardians but also to save Kyrie, and now that when he goes back in time to save the Guardians, this is much different, as like we see him. Okay, basically Sora sees stuff from Aqua's perspective. That's one thing which is interesting, where Aqua does freeze in the vanilla version of Kingdom Hearts 3 when she sees the demon tide, but what she was actually seeing was much more different, which was basically her PTSD. Like, which makes sense, honestly. It was obvious from the start, considering what Aqua has been through in the previous Kingdom Hearts games. So that, and later his encounter with Terranort. So this is a bit weird. Is it when he visits Ventus's heart station to save him, or for Terranort to show up? Okay, why do I think he'll show up in Ventus's heart station? It doesn't make sense, but Terranort, he does talk about saying that, as you can see, you chose the forbidden path, then he has to make the ultimate sacrifice. So it seems that even Terranort is aware of the power of waking, as much as young Xehanort probably, or I guess probably even young Xehanort has the power of waking. Maybe, no, that's a bit weird, but since young Xehanort is the one who has a lot of knowledge on the power of waking, and he does explain to Sora about the consequences of using it the wrong way, which is the way Sora is using it to save his friends. I guess even Terranort knows that. But this second situation is more likely, where after his fight with the Lingering Will, Sora drops in, and some of you might be like, wait, he leads in the middle of battle? No, I don't think it's like that. I think, I think it's enough time for him to go check up on the Lingering Will, and we do know that the Lingering Will, his armor and his when his heart fades away, and his armor also fades away. It's like that. Sorry if I'm explaining it in a bad way. So yeah, it is interesting to know that to see that Terranort knows what Sora is doing, or I guess he. Yeah, I guess he has some sort of knowledge on the power of waking. Now, without any further ado, I feel like we're going to get more of an insight on the black box in Remind, because we do see Luxord and Zigbar, which I did refer to earlier. Both of them talking about the black box, and we don't see any response from Zigbar. Yeah, so. I guess, yeah, that'll be an interesting conversation to watch, and not only that, but the obvious one is the conversation between young Xehanort and the Masters, which was apparent in the first and the second trailer, and both of them talk to each other, which is an interesting one, which also gives a much more important role to young Xehanort because he has a lot of now knowledge, probably more than probably more than the old Xehanort. Because as you know, we talked to the Master of Masters. I guess we're going to get more of an insight on what's in the black box, perhaps. And also I think that insight. I think remember when I mentioned the first point, the Disney part. I guess you can get more of an insight on the black box on that, or I guess it revolves around the mystery of the black box, or what's in there, or what is it even. I think it'll go around that even more in the Disney segments, like before the battle happens in the Keyblade Graveyard. Probably it's like that. So now you have that. This is a speculation. Maybe I might be wrong. Maybe that's the only scene that and the one where young Xehanort and Master Masters talk to each other will be the only scenes where they talk about the black box. But if there are more scenes, then that's cool. And also, do you see the other scene where? Yeah, see the other scene where Demix talks to Riku, and I guess he takes the replica. I guess they're showing him more in depth on how they. I guess it's how they say Shion, or no, not Shion. My bad. I guess it's for Namine. So because Demix is a type of delivery man for the replicas. It's a bit funny to say that, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I guess we're getting more, again, more things from Riku's perspective, which furthermore solidifies the proof that we are going to have a bit of a story segment as Riku, like a bit before he, before Sora fades away, and the main focus is pretty much after Sora fades away. Oh, that would be cool. Anyway. And later we see, I guess we see a more in-depth, not only an insight. I guess Remind will not only give you more of an, possibly it might give you more of an insight on the black box, but also will give you more of an insight on the power of awakening, because we do see, where Sora, like, I guess we see Sora struggles, like how he really does it, because in Wonderland Kingdom Hearts 3, after he says goodbye and goes away. We don't see anything what happens. So I guess now that we're seeing it, we are also seeing more of the power of waking in action, and we're going to understand more of it. And like you see, Sora is talking about hearts are all connected. Just trace the connection, which later transitions to Sora. This is the part I kind of freaked out. Is that Sora and Kairi both go to the final world. So I guess this happens right after. I'm guessing this happens right after Sora saves Kairi, which makes sense. Or I guess probably when he saves Kairi's heart, he'll have to collect her phantoms. I guess maybe it's something. It'll probably be something similar to that, or I guess. I don't know. But nevertheless, I feel like it'll be really interesting to see how he actually saves Kairi, from getting sliced by Xehanort. Also, oh yeah, now I remembered. I did talk about, before, Sora not only going back in time and saving the Guardians of Light again when they get taken down by Terranort and the Demon Tide, but also he alters some events which happens during the fights. Why do I think that? My proof is not my proof. Like, why did I come to that conclusion? Is because of this. Like, we see the fight with Sykes, right? Where we see Axel, Shion, and Roxas fighting Sykes. Which, again, if you've been through the Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 3, you do know that when Roxas shows up, Axel is pretty beaten up and he's not really in the condition to fight. But in that sequence, we see that he is. So I guess Sora is altering it in such a way that, and also it makes no sense because that is the sequence where Kairi gets kidnapped. So I'm guessing that yeah, Sora uh, will have a much of a lesser presence in those fights than he did in the base game, because in the base game, as we see, Sora is all the way in the battle, but I get but in Remind, I feel like he'll have a much lesser presence. Like he will be there for a short time and later leave. Why do I think that? Because in the first trailer, we see Riku and Sora fighting each other against replica Riku. So yeah, I guess that's one proof. So I guess that's the fight where he'll be there the most, or he'll just be there for some time and later use the power of waking to go there, or he'll actually go there physically. Or you know, get what I'm saying? I guess he'll when Roxas shows up, him and Kyrie both will leave to the final world. Probably it's that. I don't know, or maybe there's more to it, but but I do think that yeah, and also Sora is important in that sequence where we do see his part playing up in him when he talks to Shion, she recovers her memory. I guess, or she you see what happens, but yeah. So now that I have that out of the way, you get what I mean, like. I guess he's altering it in such a way that some events, like Axel getting beaten up to death, or not to exact death, but Axel getting shafted. He's preventing that, and also possibly from Kyrie getting kidnapped, or maybe he fails in that too and goes there. Or it's probably yeah, it's like that, or he saves her right in time when Xehanort slices her. Yeah, or I guess it makes more sense for him to, do it when Xemnas tries to kidnap her. So there's that. Anyway, so I guess to save Kyrie, it also makes more sense for him to do that, since the power of waking is the ability to rewrite reality. So as we know, he's rewriting the events. He's altering the events a bit of what happens. So he's doing a bit of a flash there. So now that I got that out of the way, we see the Terror. Sorry, not the Terror. I said a Terror a lot of times. I'm used to it. Now I'm talking about the Xehanort clones, and this is weird because we still okay. In the sequence where Kyrie fights against Xehanort, and not only that, where the other Guardians of Light fight against the Xehanort clones, we do see that Kingdom Hearts is covered in darkness, and Xehanort does that when he summons the Keyblade, but that doesn't happen, because, like I said, in order to create the 13th key, Xehanort sacrifices Kyrie, but Kyrie is saved and she's fighting against Xehanort. But even then, Kingdom Hearts is actually covered in darkness. Now we got that out of the way. We see that Riku and Aqua talk to each other, and finally the legendary sequence with Yozora, where I feel like this is the last sequence for Remind, like the story part of Remind, where Sora suffers the consequences of using the power waking. I feel like this will happen after he fades away. Like he'll go to a different place in the final world, or final world in the night or something. Or I guess I don't know, but we do see that he meets Yozora, and which is pretty cool, and also creates mystery that wait, how does he end up in Shibuya then, in the secret ending? But I guess maybe there'll be more of an explanation in the Remind DLC when we actually see the actual scene. When we watch the actual scene. But I'm really excited to see this interaction between Sora and Yozora, and how does it go, and probably if we will have a boss fight with Yozora. That would be pretty cool, to be honest. I would like that. And we do see Yozora repeating the same lines as Dee did. Also, had to give credit for that joke. I didn't come up with that. So now that's, I guess, the end of my speculation with Remind. It's really long, and it feels good to make a long video talking about it, especially talking about Kingdom Hearts, which is something I love. It's nice. So, and also, I'm not talking in an overly loud voice. I'm talking my calm voice, which is, I think, it's a nice change of pace for all of you. um, so yeah, so tell me what you think of Remind. If you came through it this far, if you were following my speculations, my whatever talks about this trailer and whatever happens, if you came through it all the way, then I sincerely thank you. I do hope you leave a like and a subscribe. I do hope you leave a like, and I do hope you subscribe. That helps the channel a lot. Hopefully, I don't get fucked by Kappa. But anyway, tell me your thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. I'm really excited to try out this DLC and to see that, yeah, this will probably make my experience with Kingdom Hearts 3, a game I already loved, much better. Or maybe if you found it disappointing, or if you found it like decent, maybe this will enhance your experience as well. So tell me what you think. I would like to hear that. I'm always down for Kingdom Hearts conversations. So I'll see you guys later.